Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Joanna Danielle here, and I am here with my daily, daily live video. Now, my mind went blank just there for a second. I'm streaming everywhere at the same time today. So today I'm over on YouTube, hey YouTube, and I'm on Facebook at the same time. So it's just one video today, not two, because I think that this content is important and we could discuss it in the same place. Every day I'm on YouTube. For those of you who are on Facebook, every day at 1 p.m. or around about this time, I do a video on YouTube. And I'm also doing a series. For those on YouTube, I'm also doing a series on my Facebook page, Wounds to Scars, around women, trauma, and resiliency. So if you are on Facebook, join us and join the conversation over there. So today I'm talking about how telling yourself the truth can help you overcome fear. We've been dealing with fear all of this week on our YouTube channel. Last week I talked about automatic negative thoughts, those subtle and repetitive thoughts that comes in and disrupt our lives. They occur around certain event, and they stick around and stay and cause havoc sometimes. And we talked about also our thoughts influence how we feel, and how we feel influence how we act. And I also shared some strategies that you can use to manage your thoughts, to bring them into to control them so that they don't control you anymore. Because oftentimes we're unaware of these thoughts and they just create havoc. They stop you from accepting opportunities, from pursuing things that you want to pursue, and they tell you things about yourself. And because we don't know, hey Renee, because we don't know that we are, thanks for joining us, Renee, because we don't know that we are in control of our thoughts, they just take control and do things to us that we kind of sometimes just sit in duck, just there. Yeah, just there, and you can manage it. So go back and watch those videos on YouTube where I really go in detail in some of them on some of the strategies that you can use that will be beneficial to help you. So today I'm talking about how telling yourself the truth can help you overcome fear, because an often fear is based in lies, but we don't know that. We don't know that. We just allow it to cripple us. Fear tells you sometimes that you can't do that, and then you don't do it. Do you know that? That sometimes that inner critic that we have, some of our inner critics are harsher than others, sometimes influenced by our past or repetitive stressful events that we've experienced in life. And so in our mind, the evidence says that I can't do it. Sometimes it's because a teacher tell you that you can't do it. Sometimes different people in your life tell you that you can't do it. And because they tell you that you can't do it, sometimes it's so compelling that you believe. And as a grown up, though you grow chronologically, the child that heard that story still alive and well, because the brain, the pathways, the thought structures around tackling fear or around certain events is still alive and well and needs to be broken down and rewritten. Yes. And the amazing thing is that the brain is a muscle, and it can also be shaped. And when learning through neuroplasticity, that we can rewrite the brain. You can rewrite that story that is fearful and is causing you overwhelm. So here's a tip. Fear lingers in our automatic negative thoughts. That's where fear lives for you. It lives in that automatic repetitive thought that comes. So if you think about the thing that you wanted to do that you haven't done, if you think about that, just before you do it, there'll be an automatic thought that says, you can't do it. Who do you think you are? Nobody has ever done it. What if, what if, what if, what if? And a list of what ifs would come and present themselves to you. And this would be, if you really sit with these thoughts, you will realize that this is a everyday thing for you. It happens every time you attempt to have a conversation that's difficult. Every time you attempt to put a boundary in place, because there are people in your life that really are not paying attention to your boundaries. But the fear, the same thoughts will come every time you want to put a boundary in place. There are also thoughts around doing something extraordinary that you've always thought about and you always wanted to do, but fear will tell you that you can't. And it would be the same story, the same thought processes, but you won't know, you won't realize, maybe hopefully until today, that those are the same thoughts. Yeah, the list of fear can be so crippling. That's true, Renee. We don't know We're not paying attention and realizing that it's the same fear that will come up all the time around this event. It's the same thought process that will come, the same thing that it will tell yourself, that the same story, the same thing over and over and over. And if you were to realize that and bring that into control, and tell yourself the truth about it, you'll be able to overcome fear. So, for example, I talked about setting a boundary, and people might push against that. And what's the fear that comes up? If I do it, they'll leave. And so, for you, there's a fear of being abandoned. So, that's what you need to deal with. So, what's the truth about that? You might have other people in your life who are not doing that. And so you have that to lean into versus if I set a boundary, they will leave. People always leave me, and I don't want them to leave. And this can be across the board with any relationships. There might be fear around an opportunity that you have that you want to pursue, something amazing that you want to do, that you can do, but you hold yourself back because fear is whispering, you can't do that. So you might want to start a business, you might want to travel, you might want to do so many amazing things, but the fear is you're going alone. You can't go alone. What if this happens? So you might know that, okay, so this fear, this thought process always comes up when I want to do something new and when I want to have an adventure. And so because I don't act in the moment, then I stop myself from experiencing the things that I want to experience because fear tells me that I can't do it. Yeah. Just before I published my book, I saw a post on my page where a Facebook friend wrote, do you need to publish a book? They weren't talking to me, but they were just talking generally. Does your audience need a book? What if, not what ifs, but they were giving some really compelling reasons why maybe now is not the time for people to be writing a book because your audience don't need it. What's it going to do? And as I read that, I thought, ooh, I'm going to publish mine. Should I be doing it? What if nobody buys any? What if they don't need it? The story has been told before. What's going to happen? And these thoughts were going. My mind was really going for it, and I had to bring that back and go, no, my audience needs it. They know it's coming. People are going to buy. You know, and if I didn't do that, I would deny the nearly 100 people that has bought my book already. I would deny them the opportunity to read my story, my experience, and learn from it too. And deny myself the joy and satisfaction of completing a project because I would have listened to the voice of fear. And that, that, yeah, isn't it, Debbie? That post would have been evidence for me that I should never publish a book because there's so many books in the world. Why are they going to read mine? So fear will tell you that, but tell yourself the truth. What's the truth for you about that thing that you're dealing with? The truth might be, I've allowed fear to cripple me for so long in my life. Now I'm not sure how to move on. That's okay. If you're at that place, I think that's okay because self-awareness is a really good play. When you're aware that there's this thing that I battle with. How do I move on from it? I think that's a good place to be. Just while you're there, don't judge yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Don't judge yourself and beat yourself up and tell yourself that you shouldn't have felt that way and you shouldn't have thought that. And don't beat up who you are today for who you were yesterday, who you were last month and last year. There's no point. Just when you're realizing and you're getting this information, then you're going to apply it to who you are today. And you're going to use that to propel you to do the things that you've denied yourself because of fear. Okay? So you're going to use it to help you move forward. So another thing we tell ourselves sometimes is people must do this so I can do that. So there's this dependence on what people that are in our lives, important people, say or do that will give us a sense of validation so we can move on. And you need to learn how to reframe that or lessen your dependence on external validation and try to find, what do I have? What is it? What do I have? What are the resources and the skills that I have? Where can I find a community of people that's going to support this idea and this vision and this dream that I have? Where can I find a community of people that support the type of parenting that I want, the kind of parent I want to be? Where do I find the community that supports the kind of woman that I know I should be, the kind of woman I want to become? My sister introduced me to a new page this week that I'm like, wow, yeah, I think I like that. I think that's where I'm going. and I want something to show me what it looks like, what the road is going to look like. And that's why I get coaching, because it helps me to grow into the woman that I want to be. So know who you are and who you want to be. And I talked about this week just kind of sitting with yourself and listening to the story, the recurring negative story that comes up, and learn how to reframe it, how to shape it differently, and challenge those stories with the truth so that you can break free. So here's an example. People must do this so I can do that. People must do something so I can do something else. Here's a reframe. You can choose what is right for you despite what others do. Because what is right for you might not be what's right for other people. Let that kind of sink. And sometimes when we have our friends and lots of people around us, because it's not right for them, sometimes stops us from doing the thing that is right for us. What is right for you might not be right for other people. I knew I wanted to homeschool before I had children, before I was married. I knew that's what I was going to do. I didn't know anybody who did it. And for a long time when I was doing it, I was on my own. And it was lonely. And I'm not a join a homeschooling group in the community kind of girl. I'm an introvert, so that kind of thing is not for me. But when I was doing it, I didn't know, none of my friends were doing it. One was, and she left the country for a while. And so for a good time, I was on my own. It was lonely, but because it's not right for anybody else, they don't need to do it so that I can do it. And I'm not saying it's always like that, because sometimes these thoughts can be very challenging and it can stop you from doing something amazing that you want to do in your life. I want to invite you to learn how to reframe, how to sit with it, find out what's true. What is it that makes me afraid to step out? Because I'm afraid of what people might say and I'm afraid of what people might do. Okay. Um, the truth is that years of people pleasing may have put you in a position where hey, Kersha, years of people pleasing may have put you in a position where your thoughts is so intertwined with what will this person think? What will they do? How will they respond to it? What's going to happen? All of that kind of stuff. And it may stop you from choosing a path that is right for you. I want to encourage you today, as you go into the weekend, spend some time sitting with yourself, really listening to what comes up for you and what you hear. What are the things that you need to do? I know people who need healing that haven't gone for it because there are other people in their community that feels they shouldn't need it. I know people who suffer for a long time with certain things because there is people who feel they shouldn't. If you have boxed your life in and you're not telling yourself the truth because you're listening to other people's truth, because their truth is not necessarily your truth, their truth is not necessarily yours. So if you're allowing yourself to be boxed in by other people's thoughts and views and feelings, whoever they are and however meaningful they may be, but it's not yours, it's not what you want to do, it's not what resonates with you. Sometimes we listen, and we have to hear this because this one's hard to hear. Sometimes we listen because it helps us with our cycle of should I, shouldn't I couldn't, what if. It kind of helps us in that cycle, and so we stay stuck longer than we should. So I want to encourage you to tell yourself the truth, challenge yourself. What are your belief systems around certain things, those events that have those recurring negative thoughts, and how can we reframe it? Tell yourself the truth because it will free you. Truth sets you free always. So try and challenge yourself this week with this weekend until I'm back again on Monday at 1ish to do Facebook and YouTube. So join me, but have an amazing weekend. And thank you for being here, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye.